So back here again with KINGPIN with Vince, and we showed this machine in the lab tour. Not sure which video is going up first, but so this is, I guess, a TNP 2020 FR.
Yep.
So sanding machine, and you use it for lapping CPUs. I brought in a CPU. Jacob informed me that it should survive this process.
Well, we hope. We hope.
So this is a 9980XE,
Yep.
and it has not been delidded. What's the process? We're going to sand down the IHS to improve contact.
Yep, we're going to make it nice and flat.
Right. Before that, this video is brought to you by Thermal Grizzly and their high-end thermal compounds. Thermal Grizzly makes cryonaut paste for high thermal performance and conductivity without being electrically conductive, so you don't have to worry about shorting components. Cryonaut is particularly good for replacing stock GPU pastes, as cryonaut is a non-curing compound. Learn more at the link in the description below.
So first of all, I will put some grease usually in the vent hole.
Okay.
To prevent water or
good point.
Water, copper, getting in there.
Contaminants.
Yeah, it's not good. So I will usually just
fill the vent hole.
Just fill the vent hole a little bit, and the water won't go down there.
So I filled the...
So I would just fill the vent hole on the IHS with some grease to keep the water and copper particles from going in there.
And was the spin at a couple hundred RPM or something?
It goes all the way up to...
That's very fast.
Yeah. We don't need that high though.
So what do you normally use for the RPM?
I usually run it around 350.
Okay.
I use the water the whole time.
Okay.
Because it'll give you a better sanded surface.
Gotcha.
You want to remove the metallic particles.
Okay.
Because they'll mar the surface. So that's about it. Just get the water going on the disc and give it some nice even pressure. And don't put too much pressure.
Okay.
Just enough.
And we're starting with like a 200 grit or something?
This is 220.
Okay.
Usually I'll go 400, 800, 1200.
I should make a comment here to preempt the comments on the video. People are going to say, oh my God, they're getting water on that CPU. And
it's okay.
Yeah, so just if you don't know, it's not connected to anything. There's no power going through it, so it's fine. We could throw it in a pool, and as long as it dries out before we use it, it would be fine. So you don't need to worry about that. Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, you can see that it's already, and you can see where your IHS isn't flat, right?
Right.
It's obvious. This is the low side.
So this actually is a very interesting test case for this. I had forgotten this. When we tested this CPU originally, the core-to-core delta was 39 degrees. And so 39 degree gap.
Yeah, that's big.
Which is massive.
Yeah.
Because it limited our overclocks pretty heavily.
This should help.
Yeah.
This should definitely help. With these new soldered IHSs, this is really the only improvement you can make aside from delidding. But in the past, delidding was necessary, but on these CPUs, it's really not. I mean, I was able to run 6.1 without delidding it.
Yeah, that's very good.
Very, very impressive.
Yeah, yeah. Roman destroyed one of his because the solder flows over the edge of the die a little bit, depending on how perfect the process is.
So when you shove the lid off, it cracked it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Usually I will go until... I'd like to use the rough grits to take off most of the
nickel.
Yeah, and then when I see mostly copper, I will start using the other grits.
Okay.
Maybe about 2 discs of this. Patience is the key. Go nice and slow.
And this whole process you said is 15 or 20 minutes typically?
Yeah, roughly about 15 to 20 minutes to do one CPU, as opposed to half a day.
Yeah, I think it took. We filmed most of ours too, and cut it all out, of course. But I think it took me like 3 hours to get a really good sand on one of ours. Because you sand it and then you test it and you realized it was imperfect in some areas, and so you have to go back and do it again.
And they're all different. You know, some CPUs are flat. The IHS will be totally flat, and others it's not.
So is that do you think that's a tolerance of the IHS or a tolerance of the way the IHS is secured to the substrate?
I don't know, like the overall Z height for the IHS. What would cause that to vary on CPUs?
Oh, the manufacturing
of the IHS itself?
Yeah, because they usually do the stamping. so they cannot precisely control. And actually, there is for normal use, there is no need for very high precision for the IHS because that will just drive the cost, and there is no practical benefit.
Right, right.
But if you like pushing for the over the spec, then you want every bit of degree you can get.
Do you want to try while it's not so rough?
Yeah, let's try it out.
So I can't grab the CPU and
Sure,
shoot it?
yeah.
So you see how I'm doing it, right? Just grab it like this, clinch it like this, and then just gently bring it down until you feel it. And don't put pressure, just sort of hold a little bit of pressure, but not much, and just hold it flat like that.
And you're just trying to not allow it to go flying.
Yeah, you don't.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever had it go flying?
That's what he was talking about when he heard bam, bam, bam. It's the CPU bouncing around in there.
We got to edit in the pottery scene now.
Let's see how you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, getting there.
So,
Getting there. I think go a little bit longer, and then we'll change the disc.
okay. So do you stick on this one until, I guess you said until the nickel's all gone, basically?
Yeah, we could put one more on.
Okay.
And I think all the nickel will be gone after that. Then it's easy to use the other grits.
This is significantly easier than the manual process.
Right? We should change the disc now.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. No, it's going to be a little rougher when you first touch it, so have a nice grip on it. Nice and flat. A little more pressure now.
Okay.
And then, like every once in a while, I will sort of lift the CPU off, rotate it, rotate it maybe 45, and then back down.
Got it.
Pull it off, rotate it 45, back
Just
down.
to make sure you're even.
Yeah.
So now what you need to do is get a retention kit so you can hold the CPU in place and just automate it.
Actually, the manufacturer of this machine makes this badass arm that fits to here, and it has a fixture that can hold the part down.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So when are you going to do that?
I'm gonna get it.
Well, you just adjust it to the CPU size, or do you have to customize it?
Yeah, it's got like these clamps, so you can
Okay.
adjust it to whatever part you're sanding.
Cool.
Let's see what you got. Oh yeah.
So there's that.
Smiley face.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can see 2 low spots here,
Right.
right?
So there's the copper. Yeah, and I guess the fact that the nickel is still showing in these other areas does, like you were saying, means that it's
A little bit
lower than the rest,
A little
right?
bit lower.
And that would likely contribute to our nearly 40-degree delta we saw.
Yep. Give it a little more pressure.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we're getting there.
So your paste is still on there, so we're good there.
Yeah. Keep the water and the copper particles out of it.
Yeah, right. Copper especially.
I think the biggest benefit that you gain from this is with the thermal grease on LN2. It's huge. These uneven IHS, they will tend to leave too much thermal grease between the 2 surfaces.
Right.
And that's where you get your cracking and your freezing.
Okay.
The paste going bad. When you see all the grease push out, almost all of it, there's just barely any trace of it left. You got the perfect contact for LN2.
Right.
That's looking good. Real good.
So it's just metal ring comes up?
Yep.
Is it secured by anything or just lift?
No, just pops right off.
Cool.
Very simple.
And then is there like a drain in there to get rid of the water? Or?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
You're going to run a metal pipe in for this. It actually has its own faucet,
Cool.
but we need to have one.
So you have to get it through from the wall, right?
Yeah, we need
So,
the plumbing run.
Yeah. I'm gonna grind my fingers off. Oh, I am grinding my fingers off.
Oh!
Sorry about that. Where's the? I'll clean it up for you. Where's the paper
He drew,
towel?
he drew blood. Here, dude.
Thank you.
Steve bled on our machine.
That's right.
He got it. I told you won't know if your fingers are being sanded off.
Right.
Man. Watch your thumb.
Yeah.
You're probably sanding that baby
That's
too.
whatever. I'm more worried about holding onto the processor right now.
Right?
The skin will come back.
The skin will grow back. but
Yeah.
What are these things? 1,300? 1,200?
This processor?
Yeah.
It's like $2,000.
They're $2,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
And Intel's not going to send me another one if I destroy it like this.
Is it more expensive than
1980.
7980 when it launched?
It's about the same price.
Same price?
Actually, $10 cheaper.
Really? Okay. The eyes on our smiley face are gone, so
Yeah, it's looking good, man.
Cool.
You're almost there. So as soon as you start to see most of this gone,
Yeah.
then you're ready for the higher.
It's the 800 grit, I guess. Okay, cool.
Here's the thing, though, with the CPUs, you don't really want it mirror polished.
Okay.
Because the grease can, when it freezes, it can sort of like slide off.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I really like, when I'm all done, usually I will even take a Scotch-Brite and just lightly scuff it.
Right.
So the grease sort of has something to grab onto.
That makes sense.
Maybe give it a little more pressure now.
Okay.
And make sure it's flat. And don't forget to rotate it every once in a while.
Okay.
This should do it. You know what's funny, dude, is that we were streaming overclocking like about 10 years ago.
Yeah, when
We were streaming overclocking before anybody was doing it.
pretty much.
There was also no infrastructure for streaming.
We were using
used
Justin
Yeah.
TV, I
It
think.
was, and it was livestream.com.
Same thing.
I
So
remember like when Vince was like doing the CNC and like making the parts, and then I just watching them we talk about stuff. That's actually how we like start like talking about different things, and then eventually like after maybe a year or so, it went to like okay, like let's join the VGA and make the great product.
Yeah, I met him. We actually met on a live stream. He
Yeah.
tuned into one of the live streams we were doing from my lab.
Yeah, because I
Okay.
had the great respect to him. He was doing like basically like every back then I was just a student, like just doing the overclocking as a hobby, and I just had the like first session with LN2, like bought like small 15-liter Duer, and overclocked some like Celeron Cedar Mill stuff. And then like Vince was doing all this crazy like extreme edition CPUs for like $1,000 and like 4-way, 3-way SLI.
right.
Like oh like you need
Well,
to learn from
good
this
catch.
guy.
I can't even tell if it's going down at this point. That spot right there.
It will.
It's really
It's a very low spot.
very stubborn.
That's probably what the side where.
That's why you probably have 40C on this CPU.
Yeah.
Half of the CPU is basically floating.
40C is huge difference.
It's the
between
biggest
cores.
I've ever
Yeah, I
seen.
think we usually see like 20, like
20 is
around that.
Pretty common, yeah.
But you know, it could be caused from the indium, like inside.
Mm.
Maybe it's not exactly flat.
So Vince just stepped in and helped out for a bit, fixing some of the, I guess, the levelness of the sand. And now we're just on the outer edges. I'm just gripping but not applying pressure, and then in the center applying more pressure, right? So this is what Vince came in to do to make sure there's a edge-to-edge flatness, so that we don't end up with like the center as lower than the outside, or vice versa.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
So I'm still seeing a bit of a line here on the outer edge.
Yep.
You see that?
Yep.
What is that?
Well, when you were doing it with the higher, heavier grips,
Yeah,
and you were
yeah.
pushing down on the outside, it was
So is that lower than the middle, I
a
guess?
tiny bit.
Okay.
A tiny bit. But that whole center portion is definitely flat.
Okay.
Basically, what I want to see is when I put it down, I want to see the cut marks from the paper going all the way through from edge to edge.
Hmm.
At least in the middle.
Okay. I
Here,
think we can
here.
see that, right? At this
Yep.
point? Okay.
It looks pretty good. Let me see that. So then I just lightly take a Scotch-Brite and go over it. This right here,
Mm.
by using a little less pressure when you're using the heavier grits,
Yeah.
and maybe like you gotta, it really has to be balanced. Right?
Okay,
Maybe
yeah.
you push a little bit too this way, then push a little bit too this way, and then you'll kind of get that effect.
Right.
But it's pretty good actually for doing such a quick job.
And it can't be any worse than what we started with. So.
Oh my God. It's horrible. You
Yeah.
were going forever before the nickel disappeared, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure should be better.
Yeah, that will give you a nice improvement.
Cool. So that's the 9980XE modified KINGPIN edition. And now we just need to do some thermal testing, run it through the same battery that we did before, sanding it down and see what kind of improvement there is. So there should definitely be an improvement. We were pretty limited before. Core-to-core deltas were very high. So
40C's a lot.
yeah. So that's it for this one. Check back for the channel. We have a lab tour we did where we walked through everything. It's really cool. Either on the channel now or coming up soon. Make sure you subscribe. And I would shake your hand, but I have some blood on mine still. So thanks for watching. Patreon.com/GamersNexus to help us out directly, or KingPinCooling.com for KP's products, and of course, EVGA KingPin Edition card coming up we'll have a video on as well. So I'll see you all next time.